Paige, do you want any of this cupcake?
No, I'm good, thanks.
A young, beautiful life with so much promise cut too short by senseless killing. What's even more sad is both the victim and the person that took this young, beautiful woman's life is also another very young, beautiful woman. 2 lives lost just like that. Gone. For what?
She ran over my sister's body like she was trash.
Now, before I get into this story or this very sad case, there's something we can learn from this. And I mean from both ends or both sides of this case or story, if you like, that if you don't control your emotions, they will ruin your life.
A teenage girl faces a charge of felony murder tonight.
2 beautiful women. One is gone, killed by another. Her killer will spend most, if not all of her life in prison. All because of the inability to control emotions. The families have lost. We've also lost. Society has lost 2 people that had probably a lot to contribute. They had a lot of life left in them and gone. Let's get into this very unfortunate story of how these 2 young women crossed paths.
It was very intentional. Because the same way that she left that scene is the same way that she should have left out before she came back to hit my sister.
A hot, humid summer evening in Georgia. Sunday, July 16, 2023. Cars driving around, people looking for parking space at the Cumberland Mall in Atlanta. Some people were leaving after watching their favorite baseball team, the Braves.
He wants 3, and Ozzie has 3.
But little did they know that summer evening would turn into a spine-chilling crime. That evening, in the parking lot of the Cumberland Mall, was Paige Jenkins, a beautiful 25-year-old woman walking back to their car with her family after they had just enjoyed a Braves game. Kecia, Paige's sister, recalls that evening. She said, "We were just walking, minding our own business, when this car came dangerously close to hitting me." She says the driver of the car then said to Kecia, "You need to watch where you're going." And Keisha's response was, "I'm the pedestrian. You watch where you're going."
She had almost hit me with her car first, and she had said something upon the lines of, "You need to watch where you're going," or something, and I was like, "I'm the pedestrian, you watch where you're going," and I had kind of shoot her off, and she had exchanged some words.
So words are exchanged between Kecia and the driver who is now identified as Vanessa. An argument erupts between the 2 women, Kecia and Vanessa. Remember that Paige is not at the same exact spot as her sister, Kecia. Well, this argument goes on between Kecia and Vanessa. Paige hears the commotion. She rushes back to intervene. Paige says to Vanessa, the driver of the car, "You watch where you're going," trying to protect her sister, Kecia. What nobody knew was that there was a terrifying storm brewing.
She had almost hit me with her car first, and she had said something upon the lines of, "You need to watch where you're going," or something, and I was like, "I'm the pedestrian, you watch where you're going," and I had kind of shoot her off, and she had exchanged some words, and that's when Paige heard us having that argument, and she came back and said, "Watch where you're going."
This confrontation did not sit well with Vanessa, but she drove off. So they thought. Vanessa was not done. This was just the beginning of a horrific night for the Jenkins family.
Lewis said Robinson drove off, circled back.
Instead of just driving away, Vanessa decides to come back. Kecia recalls that moment, seeing Vanessa's car reappear, slow down, come to a stop, watching the Jenkins like a predator. They knew something was wrong, but they would have never guessed what happened next. Without warning, Vanessa steps on the gas, hitting Paige.
And said, watch where you're going.
Lewis said Robinson drove off, then circled back around.
And we see them pull around, and she stops for like a second, and then my sister just hit the car.
Lewis said Robinson drove off, circled back, and then mowed Paige Jenkins down in the parking lot.
A horrifying scene for the Jenkins and anybody who witnessed it. A nightmare unfolding. Their sister, just moments ago, they were enjoying and laughing. And just like that, her body laid in the parking lot of a mall, Cumberland Mall, devastated by someone they didn't even know. The Jenkins didn't know Vanessa. There was no previous encounter with Vanessa before that horrible night.
They tell me that they did not know that suspect and that Vanessa Robinson deliberately struck their sister, killing her.
But Vanessa was not done. Clearly, she was not remorseful because Vanessa fled the scene. It was a hit and run. I can't even imagine. Honestly, my heart goes out to the Jenkins. And I don't think any of us can unless we've been in a similar situation. How do people go from what was seemingly a disagreement? How do we go from watch where you're going to hitting someone with a car, running over someone, killing someone? How? And then Vanessa flees. She leaves. She speeds off. Listen.
Robinson fled the scene.
And Paige is rushed to Keniston Hospital. And unfortunately, she did not survive. Paige died.
Jenkins was rushed to Keniston Hospital but did not survive her injuries.
My condolences to the Jenkins family because I just don't know how life. I don't know because, every death of a loved one is painful regardless of how they die. I've lost a loved one and it hurts to this day. But when someone is so young and not sick, let me see, how can I put this? What I'm trying to say is losing a loved one is one of life's most difficult experiences. The pain cuts deep. It leaves you with this emptiness that feels impossible to feel. But when that loved one was not sick and young like Paige, the pain hits different. It's a gaping wound that goes beyond words. It's a sorrow that is unbearable. Imagine for the Jenkins, 1 minute Paige was okay. In a blink of an eye, she was taken from them. It's still unbelievable for them that Paige is no longer there. When things like this happen, when someone is not sick, when someone is sick and they die, you know the cause of death. In this situation, it leaves the loved ones grappling with questions they will never have answers to. When I heard about Paige's death, it made me so mad and so sad at the same time, and also scared. And then I was thinking to myself, this is just no way. Vanessa, the 18-year-old girl that killed Paige, I was just thinking to myself, there's just no way that these people just met in the parking lot of the Cumberland Mall. They exchanged some words. You watch where you're going. No, you watch where you're going. And Vanessa, boom, decides to run over Paige, killing her. I'm like, There's got to be more to this story. This just can't be it. I've heard of road rage. Happens all the time. So I went digging online. Vanessa must know Paige or someone from the Jenkins family. So I went digging.
Yeah, I spoke with the victim's sisters who tell me they were enjoying a day out with their dad when they had a run-in with the suspect. They tell me that they did not know that suspect and that Vanessa Robinson deliberately struck their sister, killing her.
So like I told you guys, I went digging. I wanted to find something. I couldn't believe that a woman who was just told to watch where she was going got so angry that she decided to run over someone. And guys, I came up with nothing so far. Absolutely nothing. Indeed, they didn't know Vanessa. How does a girl who's 18 be so angry with life? Like, what happened in Vanessa's life that this is how she decides to, for lack of a better word, resolve conflict or disagreements is, I'm gonna kill you. I don't know if she intended to kill her. What triggered her? She's guilty. She needs to go to prison.
And tonight, investigators tell us they work with Fairburn police to take a suspect into custody, 18-year-old Vanessa Robinson.
As for that suspect, Robinson, she is facing a felony murder charges as well as aggravated assault and remains behind bars tonight.
But she also needs rehabilitation. She's too young, but so was Paige. I mean, what's the difference? 7 years difference between Paige and Vanessa? And I know some of you may not agree with me, but it hurts both ways. To lose Paige, 25, life full of promise, but also Vanessa, 18. In a way, her family lost her too. She's only 18 years old. I think for me, I don't know, she deserves prison, of course. But what happened to Vanessa? I would like to know what happened to Vanessa. This feels crazy for me to feel this way because I feel so strongly and I'm angry about what she did. But I also feel bad for Vanessa. And to me, the story has lessons for us, the rest of us, right? Paige did not, no one, I don't care, no one deserves what happened to Paige at all.
My sister did not deserve that. And the two other girls that were in there, justice needs to be brought upon them as well. Because my sister did not deserve that. She was full of life, energy. She was like our glue.
And Vanessa deserves to go to prison, like I said. She deserves rehabilitation. She deserves counseling. And she's gonna learn from this. She deserves guidance. And I must say that Vanessa deserves love too. Some people, we don't know what happens in their lives and what was going on in Vanessa's life. Obviously, Paige, from what we've seen online, is a decent person, is a great human being, was going to give more to the world. For me, especially after this pandemic, it seems people have lost their senses. You see people die over a parking space. You see people follow each other over road rage. I think I've come to this point where if I disagree with someone, especially a stranger, and I can clearly see that they're wrong, because if I'm wrong, I'm ready to say I'm sorry. I have no pride in that. And if the other person is wrong, but they don't want to admit, I'm just gonna let them go. I've even learned to apologize for things that I'm not wrong for to avoid conflict. People have lost their minds. People will kill you over the stupidest little things. And I've come to that conclusion that it's not worth it. I've even been telling my husband, because my husband sometimes when people cut him off, he honks at them. I'm like, listen, let them go. It's okay. It's not worth it. We don't know what is going on in their lives. So when someone cuts me off, as long as they don't run me over, I'm just like, whatever. I don't even look at them. It's just not worth it. The back and forth is just not worth it. You don't know what the other person is going through. You don't know who they are. You don't know their background. Once they argue with you, let it go. Even if they are in the wrong, let it go. Guys, thank you so much for watching this video. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Once again, my condolences go to the Jenkins family.